All right, testing. Great. Now, welcome back to our final video on our mock examination, in which this time we are going to finish section B, the long questions, of course, including our essay question, right? So let's get right into it. Now, question 10 here on ADAS again, right? Now, the US government provides subsidies to firms that have intention to relocate, not reallocate, right? Their production plants back to US from China, basically asking those people, hey, you don't set up in China lah, you go back to US lah, right? Something like that. Now we need to explain with the aid of the ADAS diagram. Now, under what condition the provision of the subsidy would cause the price level to increase in short run? Okay, 我哋講緊 short run 啊，好嘛？ Now let's think about it. This subsidy would have two effects, right? Now, first of all, by providing subsidies to the firms, we know their production cost would be lower, 係咪啊？呢啲應該 highlight 唔到，唔理啦。Okay, the cost of production would be lower in the short run, meaning short run AS would increase from here to here. Okay, 好嘛？ Now on another hand， 嗱呢個唔該你自己小心啲啊，好嘛？ Many of you get it wrong. Many of you say, right, with a subsidy. 嗱錯啊 the following, what I'm going to say is wrong, but I'm going to tell you, right? Most of you said with a subsidy, government spending increase, therefore G increase, AD increase. No. Remember, yes, government expenditure increases, but G refers to government consumption expenditure. Subsidy is not consumption expenditure, therefore it's not G. In fact, it should be. By giving them subsidy, it gives incentives for the firms to raise the investment expenditure, I of US, right? Now, therefore, I increase, AD also increases. Hola, we know AD increases, price level increases, SRAS increases, price level decreases, right? Now, therefore, if the increase in SRAS is greater than the increase in AD, then the price, actually, it's just the opposite, right? Should be smaller, then it will increase. 係咪？因為就唔係 increase 啊嘛，係咪？會 increase, right? If the SRAS increase is smaller than that of AD, then price level would increase. Okay, no problem. Now diagram just like this, right? You need to shift AD curve more than you shift SRAS, then the price level would increase. 好嘛？ Very standard diagram. 好啦， now part B, after the firms have relocated back to US, consumers in Asia need to pay much higher prices for all the US affected product. Okay, how it's going to affect the current account balance, right? 嗱，我哋睇睇呢個發生咩事啦。Now just think about it, right? Asia, right? 我諗諗啦 because of the relocation back to the US, right? 我哋諗一樣嘢，好嘛？ Now, what happens to the price in terms of USD? 其實計翻美金個價有冇變㗎？ For example, I'm McDonald, right? I'm McDonald. I'm a 冇 McDonald 啦。I'm a US, let's say Apple. The Asian buy Apple from my store in US. 係嘛？ Now there are more US product coming back to the US. But would that change the price of our product in terms of USD? No, it should be unchanged. 其實不變㗎噃，係咪？其實應該不變㗎噃。Now, on another hand, we know the Asian needs to pay much higher prices. What does that mean? It means that the quantity would drop. 好啦， with P unchanged, quantity drop. Therefore, we know the total expenditure should decrease in terms of USD. Therefore, the current account should become worse. 係咪應該差咗㗎噃？係嘛？嗱 therefore, the answer is like this: would drop. Trade balance would be worsened. Therefore, current account would drop. Now, some of you, I see some of you, you say it is uncertain, right? Because you see, you guys are saying price increases, 係咪啊？ but Q decreases. Therefore, uncertain. Now, this time I also give you mark, right? Now, originally, I was thinking, 係咪？ I was thinking, 好啦，美金應該不變啦，係咪啊？ But then I keep thinking, when the plants move back to the US, 係咪啊？ let's say Apple used to make its iPhone in Foxconn, 係咪啊？ China, right? Let's say it drops the plants in Foxconn and come back to US. There is a chance that things may become more expensive. 係咪啊？嗱，有啲人解到嘅 ，some of you explain that the price in USD would increase because the cost of production becomes higher. Then I will also accept your answer. You say P in terms of USD increases, quantity drop, therefore uncertain. Yes, I also accept this answer. Only if you were able to explain that the cost of production for the US plants increased. Therefore, right? Therefore, its product will become more expensive. OK， 嗱呢個我都講，我覺得講得通嘅，好嘛？我覺得講得通嘅，好嘛？嗱 C。The government provide a per unit subsidy would worsen efficiency, of course, right? 唔使問啦，呢個講十幾萬次啦，係咪啊 ？Remember, with a per unit subsidy, right? S0 drops to S1. We would know that, right? At Q1 here, MB is at this point. 我哋畫埋出嚟啊，好嘛？好，呢度 this is MB, 係嘛？ Then we also have here. 咦？唔得喎，唔知佢放唔到落去，是但啦。On another hand, MC will be right here. 好嘛？ Then we know MC marginal cost will be much higher than that of marginal benefit. Now, therefore, we know there would be a deadweight loss over production. 好嘛？ OK， 好嘛？ So this is how you do this question. Now, this question, a very standard one, not exactly too difficult. All right, 好嘛？ So let us move on to question 11. Question 11. This is kind of like a data response question. 好嘛？好啦，嗱 part A, basically all of you get 1 mark if you have done it, right? Briefly describe the profit and loss, right? 係咪 Basically, it overall there are more loss than gain. 係咪好多唔同嘅答法都得 Okay, you can write in whatever way. This is not the only answer since it is only 1 mark. For example, some of you say it decreases first and then it increases again. The loss, I mean, they were making a loss, then some profit, then loss again. All good. 是但寫啲咩都得㗎啦。嗱呢個唔講啦，唔嘥時間好唔好啊？嗱 according to source B, right? Explain how may involve externality. 嗱小心啲啊，唔該你好唔好啊 ？Here, we need to do it according to source B. 好啦 ，source B 講啲咩啊 ？They found that according to data in the fiscal, visitors to Disney brought Hong Kong an extra consumption money. 呢個咩嚟㗎 This is a positive externality because visiting will spend money on other attraction and Disney receives no compensation. What does that mean? 嗱，其實咧可以寫得好啲，我覺得呢個寫法都唔係咁好。安全起見 ，to play safe in DSE, thus right the marginal social benefit is pushed up to be higher than marginal private benefit. Meaning, positive externality exists。OK， 好嘛？寫清楚係 MSC 大過MSB 大過 MPB， 寫清楚好嘛 ？Make it clear， right? The marginal social benefit higher than the marginal private benefit。OK， 得唔得 ？So this is how we answer it。好啦，C 啦 ，buy two get one free，right？ 唔係 C 呢個 hire different people，right？ what economic principle 冇玩啊 ，hire different people，division of labour 咯，好嘛 ？practice makes perfect。呢條唔講啦，自己睇書啦，好嘛？唔講啦。好啦，now part D offers buy two get one free。喂，唔該你小心啲啊 ！buy two get one free。Basically this is simply a drop in price， 基本上都係 P 跌嘅咋 ，OK？P decreases, QD increases. OK， 得唔得 ？P 升 QD 啦。Now, so under what condition would increase because of this promotion? Let's see, right？ 係嘛 ？It should be under the situation of an elastic demand, right? If the demand is elastic, then the percentage drop in price will be smaller than the percentage increase in quantity demanded, right? Now, for those of you who prefer to look at our usual way, like this, right? TE equals to P times Q. Now we know, now we know price would drop, right? But now we need total expenditure to increase. So how do we balance this equation? To balance this equation, we know quantity, the percentage increase must be faster, 係嘛? And this would give us the situation of an elastic demand. 好嘛? To draw the diagram, remember upper portion of the demand curve. 好嘛? Upper portion of the demand curve. Then you shade the area. Gain in total revenue, loss in total revenue. You should see that the gain is much larger than the loss. Something like that. OK， 好嘛？嗱，呢個都 standard 嘅，唔算特別難嘅，好嘛 ？Alright, now part E. Some politicians should sell the shares of Hong Kong Disneyland. OK, refer to source A and source B. We need to give one argument for and one argument against, right？ 好啦，我哋望望啦 ，you will see. Remember, Disneyland is losing money and it is owned by the government, right? So one argument for is that if government is no longer holding, no longer holding the shares, then the government would not have to inject money. Would not have to inject money. Now, by not holding the thing, right, by selling it to the private enterprise, then our fiscal balance in Hong Kong will be much better， 係咪？會令到我哋嘅 fiscal balance 好咗啦，係咪？ Because you don't have to bear the burden. Also, the government may not be the most efficient manager, as you know, right？ 係咪？逢親政府都唔係好 efficient 㗎。By selling to the private, most likely they will be more efficient， 係咪？ With more efficient management, most likely, right? Most likely, Disneyland will be making more money. Get out of the losing cycle， 係咪？由私人公司管應該賺錢機會大啲啦，好嘛 ？So these are the argument for. Now what about argument against, right? Now think about it, right? We mentioned if the private enterprise take over, most likely the profit will increase. What if it doesn't happen? Then most likely the park may lose support from the government and it may close down. When it closed down, remember in source B, right? There are external benefits brought about by Disneyland. So without Disneyland, Hong Kong would lose the extra income. 係嘛？香港咪冇咗啲 extra revenue 咯，好嘛？ So this is one bad point, right? Also, without the government support, most likely the Disneyland will not survive. 好啦，仲有另一個幾得意㗎 Some of you mentioned, right? Some of you mentioned, okay? Now, in order to make more profit, then we know Disneyland would most likely raise the price. 好啦，when they raise the price, then consumers would suffer. They cannot go into the park that easily and they will suffer. Yes, I also think this is a good point for argument against, because remember, Disneyland is a public facility. It should be enjoyed by a lot of people, not just the rich people, right? But when the government is not supporting it, private enterprise most likely would just raise the price without asking any question, right? That would be against the idea of a public facility. Okay, 好嘛? So this is how you answer this question. And that would conclude our question 11. Yes. All right, then let us use the remaining time to go to the last question, question 12. All right, as usual, let's look at the questions first. 好啦，望咗題目先。Now it says, refer to source A. Give one reason for the existence of income inequality in Hong Kong. Now let's look at source A here. Source A, the only thing given to you is their education level. 見唔見到啊? Across the years, it is always people with higher education. They get higher median monthly wages. Okay, 好嘛? This is always the case. So here, we know difference in human capital, or some of you say, right, difference in skills in education level. 好嘛? The higher the wage, the more you can earn. 好嘛? 嗱，呢條基本上大多數人都啱㗎啦 except some of you, 係咪? You don't quite explain your answer, or you're not quite referring to the source A, 係咪? Then you will get 1 mark. 視乎你寫成點嘅啫，好嘛? 喂，嗱 ，Part B, according to source B, explain the possible effects of increasing expenditure on education on the aggregate output in the long run. 其實呢個應該都唔需要refer to source B 啦，係咪啊? I think you will know what happens, right? Anyway, let's look at source B. 好嘛? Now source B, you know. Source B, the expenditure on education just keep increasing. 係嘛? So let's see what happens. Is that increasing expenditure would raise the productive capacity in the long run, 係嘛? As government is spending more and more money, so you can expect, 係嘛? You can expect the production capacity in the long run will keep going up, right? The long run aggregate supply would increase, and thus the full employment output level. Now, some of you will be thinking, can I answer AD? Wait, answer. G is increasing, right? Now remember, education. This is government consumption expenditure, right? G increasing. So that also make output level in long run increase, right? Remember, AD. If it only increase AD without increasing LRAS, it will only lead to an inflationary gap, right? So in this question, if you only answer AD, unfortunately, you will not get any marks because we are asking in the long run. 我哋而家問 long run 啊，你答 AD 係唔得㗎，得唔得？ All right, now C, according to source C, what could be the trend in our wage rate after this year, right? 好啦，望望 source C. Source C, right? Let's see. We are expecting, 睇先 we are expecting people with higher education, 係嘛? With higher education would become more and more. Actually, here, the supply and the demand, 係嘛? You are given the supply and demand in 2027. Look at here. No matter primary, secondary, or tertiary, you will see that both of it, the projected demand are larger than the projected supply of manpower. What does that mean? It means that from the data, we can see that the QD is higher than the QS. there will be an excess demand of labor, or you can call it shortage of labor. Most likely, with a shortage, the wage rate will increase under the market force because of a shortage, right？係嘛？所以你見到啦，喂，原來一路啊 QD 大過 QS 啊，係嘛？There is a shortage shown，right？好啦，望埋啲啦。According to source E, explain if the income of the cyber specialist would be counted in GDP。望望 source E 講啲咩先？source E cyber 邊個係 cyber here right? Hire some cyber security specialists from Britain who settle in Hong Kong through migrant quality admission scheme 係嘛？記住啦，呢啲優質入境嘅。They would settle in Hong Kong, not work for 1 month or 2 months, but they actually settle in Hong Kong, like Zhang Genghin, like Lon Lon, right? Those examples from the quality migrant admission. Since they settle in Hong Kong, they would automatically be counted in our RPU, okay? As the income reflects current production by RPU 嗱呢個緊要，你要寫到佢哋係屬於 RPU 啊。Through this scheme, they would all become an RPU of Hong Kong. Now, therefore, their production is counted. OK， 好嘛？好啦，跟咩嚟㗎？Explain whether the view of government a positive statement 望望先。A continuous increase in the expenditure will increase the financial burden of the government。好容易啫嘛，睇下個庫房咪知咯。You look at the data of the government reserve, then you see whether this is really a burden or not, right? So there is no value judgment, and most importantly, it is refutable by facts. So this is a positive statement. 係咪？呢個係 positive statement 啊。You just whether it is refutable by fact. Okay, 好嗎？ So the final question, the essay question. Suppose there are two proposals for increasing human capital in Hong Kong. For example, first one, increase subsidized university places, and second, increase the quota for this quality migrant admission scheme. Okay, now we need to discuss the effect of these two proposals on aggregate output, wage rates of local labour。唔該你睇清楚啊，係 local labour，得唔得？Government expenditure and government revenue and other economic variables。OK， 嗱 ，aggregate output is the easier one, right? Remember, increasing subsidies。嗱，但係你要諗諗喎 ，in order to write a good essay。In order to write a good essay, right? When they say aggregate output, have they specified what aggregate output? Actually, you can further break it down into short run and long run aggregate output. OK， 嗱咁咧就會有分別啦，係嘛？ Then you will see the different effects. For example, subsidized university places. Here, subsidized university places will reduce the number of people entering the labor market in short run. Labor supply， 因為點解？個個就係讀書啊嘛，唔嚟做嘢啊嘛，係咪啊？ The short run aggregate supply would decrease, causing aggregate output to decrease. Of course, in the long run, the potential output level will increase because of the improvement in productivity. 係咪？咁咪分咗 short run、long run 咯，係咪啊？ Now here, it will also raise people's income in the future. 嗱呢個唔講啦，係咪 AD 就上升啦，係咪啊？好啦。With more specialists coming to Hong Kong, now this one I think it will be talking about the migrant, right? With more specialists coming to Hong Kong through the scheme, the labor supply and the average labor productivity, this would raise the productive capacity, output level. Now I think this one will be talking about the quality migrant admission scheme, right? Increasing quota can better meet the needs of specific industry. This will help raise the investment expenditure. 係嘛？所以你見到啦，即係個分別喺邊啊 ？Proposal one, basically, it is possible short run decrease, long run increase. 係嘛？ While number two, Here, proposal 2, most likely long run increase, not so much on short run. 嗱，呢個就係佢哋分別啦，係咪？ In order to write a good essay, you can break it down into short run and long run. 好啦 but the most important, the most distinguishing factor between the two is actually the wage rate of local labour。唔該，你再睇清楚啊！我講咗好多次啦，呢個好啦。Local labour with subsidized university places, we know。咦，做咩？誒，唔係，睇下先。I think there are some typos here. Right? With more university places，呢個係咪就係講 proposal one 嘅？唔係喎。With more university places, more university, meaning higher education level for local workers。好啦，嗱，如果你想答得好啲嘅 ，remember according to source A, higher education level, higher income. Now, therefore, we can conclude that proposal one 會發生咩事啊 ？Most likely, proposal one would raise income level of local labour，係嘛 ？Versus proposal B, remember with more foreign labours, they are the substitutes， 替代品嚟噶嘛？ When the firms hire more foreign labours, it means that the demand for local labour would decreases. Therefore, wage for local labour would also decrease. 係嘛？咁樣咯。嗱 so this is the biggest difference. You increase the education level in the local market. You raise their income. You import, 係嘛？ You import expert from other country. You are introducing competition to your own citizens. So your local labor, most likely, they will earn lower wages, right? 係嘛? So now this is also a concern of recency. 你知道近排係咪話嗰個the doctors, overseas doctors, right? This is also a concern, one point of concern. Alright, 好嘛？嗱，所以呢個係最大分別㗎。嗱，we talk about government expenditure or revenue, right? 好啦 I think you will know. For the first one, you subsidize university places, then you are involving extra government expenditure. 要自己俾嘅係咪啊？ So most likely the fiscal balance would be worse, right? Increasing the quota would involve little to no expenditure. 係嘛? Now, so here we know expenditure wise, proposal one will be paying more. Proposal two not paying so many, right? Now, but similar to both of them, right, would be that we will raise people's income in the future, 係嘛? Or labor supply. So more people falling into the tax net, 係嘛? More salary tax, something like that, 係嘛? 嗱，呢個一樣嘅啫。好啦，呢個先最陰啊！嗱 ，many of you are the economic variable， 我而家問緊你其他 economic variable 啊 ，so don't just use any variable, right? Now, when we talk about economic variable, let's try to give some example. 好啦，有咩其他嘅 economic variable 啊 ？For example, up there you have not mentioned, right? Unemployment rates. Unemployment rate? Or what about balance of payment of Hong Kong? 係嘛？有冇 balance of payment? 係嘛？ Maybe international trade? Those kind of thing. 係嘛？ Now, remember, you need to stick to economic variable. So, don't tell me, 唔該你啊，唔好再喺 econ 答啊。The quality of life 關我鬼事啊！我問緊你 econ 唔係問你 LS 啊。OK， 好嘛？So remember when you study economics, have a list, build up a list of economic variable for you to use. GDP, money supply, balance of payment, international trade, unemployment rates, etc. Those kind of things, right? Or even income, or maybe you may talk about equity, something like that. These are economic variable. Quality of life is not, I repeat, is not an economic variable. Okay? 好嘛? Unemployment rate, etc. Those kind of things. 好嘛? So all in all, we finished with this mock examination explanation. You will see that this mock paper, we are on a rather standard track, right? Why we are setting it so standard, right? Because let's face it, this year, 2021, we are expecting the DSE to be super standard. 應該唔會出啲極難嘅嘢啊，係咪啊？ Because of all the COVID-19 things that has been hitting you for not 1 year but 2 years. So we are expecting HKEAA would understand, and they would start to, they would stick to the very basic, very standard things, right? Therefore, spend more time on the definition, on the very standard way of answering the questions. Make sure you don't lose the mark to the standard question. Obviously, there will be 1 or 2 difficult questions, but we believe the more important thing is actually to familiarize yourself the more time on the standard and basic things. All right, with that said, that will be the end of our mock examination explanation. Good luck to your DSC. All right, see you maybe later. Who knows, right? Good luck. Bye bye.